Sports Podcast. I am your host, Joshua Tracy.
And I'm Corwin Heller.
And today we'll be going over some football stats stuff. We'll be talking a little bit about the upcoming Combine, which should be starting, I believe the day this releases, the 27th, right?
So it actually started on Sunday night with players arriving, but it will be, the on-field performances will be going up and starting on Thursday when this is released.
Interesting. So what starts on Sunday? What has been going on since Sunday?
So basically, it's split into 4 different player groupings, and each of it is, staggered by a day to, keep the process moving smoothly and whatnot. So tight ends, quarterbacks, I forget it's WO. I forget what it actually stands for, but I'm pretty sure it's like. That would make a shit ton of sense. Good job, Josh. I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
Great at that. They arrive on Sunday night. They register. They go through orientation. They have a couple interviews with teams. And then on Monday, they go through all the measurements. They do a pre-examination at the local Indianapolis hospital. They have another round of interviews. Tuesday is media day. They have further medical exams. They have position coach interviews and psychological testing. Then Wednesday, today when we're recording this, we have an NFL PA meeting where they get introduced to that whole process in the union. They have more interviews. They're doing more psychological testing. And then they finish up with the bench press. And then on Thursday, they do a few more interviews and they do all of the on-field workouts. Which is what everyone typically, when they see the combine, that's what they think of: 40-yard dash, shuttle, drills, stuff like that. And then on Friday they leave, and then place kickers, special teams, offensive line, and running backs start this process on Monday. Defensive line and linebackers started on Tuesday, and defensive backs start on Wednesday. So it's a 6-day planned out, event, but it ends up going from Sunday to Monday because there's 4 different groupings.
Well, damn, every year I forget how gigantic of an undertaking this actually is.
It's so much stuff. And I'm sure we talked about this last year, but it's for media and coaches only. It's not open to the public, so you and I can't get tickets to go see unless we go as Juicing the Numbers podcast. I'd love to be able to go to this. Oh yeah, we're sure to get one of those anytime now.
That's one of them. Actually, the most disorienting parts of watching the combine happen, like on TV, is because they do it at football stadiums, but they're empty. And seeing the inside of any type of stadium when it's empty is kind of creepy. It's just weird.
Yeah, especially since Indianapolis is a closed stadium. It's super echoey at times.
Yeah, the echo,
and it's so quiet.
Oh, it's eerie. It's like, do you remember? I want to say this was like 2 or 3 years ago now. There was a riot happening at the same time as a Baltimore Orioles game in Baltimore, and they didn't let fans into the stadium, but they still played the baseball game. And it was the weirdest because, like, granted, Camden Yards does not fill up much these days, as it is, but like literally 0 people inside the stadium. It was fucking weird. And the announcers just leaned into it and started calling the baseball game as though it was golf, where they did it in like hushed tones and shit. Do you remember this?
I do, yeah.
That's what
all the Baltimore riots and everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That shit was fucking just disorienting. It's just so it feels like the wrong context. It feels like you're watching something private.
Mm-hmm.
Which I
love
in
watching.
Case you literally are, but
Yeah, I love watching the combine though. It's not as exciting as the draft, but it's always something I love, like working on homework, doing something and then just having it out in the background and just looking up every now and again and watch a fat guy sprint or guys catch passes, some throwing. It's
There's
enjoyable.
something appealing about like the raw athleticism of it because it's the same thing with like
Excuse
watching
me.
the Olympics. It's like
Hmm.
obviously I don't know fucking anything about the mechanics of different aspects of running. Like I know how I run, like kinetically, but like I don't understand what the actual technical points are of like distance running or sprint running. But I mean, fuck, watching a dude run super goddamn fast for any stretch of time is super entertaining, especially in the
Yeah.
right
Oh
context.
yeah.
Same thing with like or something
It's
like
one of those things where like you can tell who has practiced the drills extensively and kind of who's just under the assumption that they're going to wing it and be fine. Because there's a big difference between expected times and their eventual times, and it's just like you look significantly slower than you should be, and it's just guys don't realize that this is a track start, track run. If they've never done it before, it's so different than just being a wide receiver starting off the line.
So in terms of storylines heading into this, I know what quarterback is refusing to throw? Was it Tua or
No,
Joe
Tua's not going to
Burrow?
be able to perform because he's still injured.
Okay.
I
Is it
don't know who.
Joe
I can
Burrow?
I can look it up.
Because I know that's a present storyline is one of the main quarterbacks is refusing to throw at the combine, which feels weird. Like, why are you going? Like the inverse of what Lamar Jackson ended up doing a few years ago, where he refused to run but did all of his throwing drills because he was like, I'm not fucking switching positions. I am a quarterback. Um,
Mm.
I was wondering if there were any other main storylines we should look at heading into this weekend.
Yeah, so Justin Herbert will be throwing. Joe Burrow will not be.
It was Joe Burrow. Okay.
He says he's so confident in his draft stock. Actually, he doesn't say this. This is what they're projecting. He is so confident in his draft stock. Throwing would just put added risk on top of that.
That's actually a good point. I mean, his draft stock is at like an all-time
Excuse me.
high right now. He's already projected to go first overall pretty much, so why
Hmm.
even bother taking the risk? Yeah,
Exactly.
interesting. Any other storylines we should look at?
Medicals will be big for a lot of players. Tua, especially, he's kind of the big question mark health wise. So he's going to be going through all of his medical examinations. Actually, went through yesterday. We just won't get the leaked information until that's leaked. Because medicals are obviously not public information. So that's going to be the big thing affecting his draft stock, not what he's able to do throwing the ball or running a 40-yard dash. But yeah, that's the big storyline. If we're ready to move on, I just want to add 40-yard dash is what gets the most attention. But look at three cones if you want to see actual on-field ability in a combine drill. That's the big one to look at for skill position players.
Right on. Then yeah, let's move on. I wasn't planning on talking about the combine shit first, but fuck it, we're already here. Tell me some shit about the combine, Corwin.
Oh, what do you want to know?
What did we talk about? I forget.
Just now, we talked about the schedule. We talked about some big question
Oh,
marks.
who are some players that you're looking at in particular?
Oh man, I'm really looking at the big group of running backs to see who can break out there. Guys like J.K. Dobbins, Clyde. Oh God, I need to find his name so I don't fucking butcher this. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, out of LSU. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Okay, I'm getting it right. I'm sorry if I fucked that up. Guys like Cam Akers, Benjamin, maybe AJ Dillon out of Boston College, DeAndre Swift, Jonathan Taylor, and Keyshawn Vaughn. Oh, Zach Moss too. Those are all the big name running backs who have the chance to go in the first 2 days. Combine is huge for that. I kind of want to see who breaks out there. And then wide receiver is going to be the huge position group to watch because it's so deep. I'm just going to go through all of the top names, alphabetical order, just to show just how many guys are contending to be top picks. We have Brandon Ayuk, Arizona State, Chase Claypool, Devin Duvernay, excuse me, KJ Hamler, T. Higgins, KJ Hill, Colin Johnson, Jerry Jeudy, Van Jefferson, Justin Jefferson, Jawan Johnson, Tyler Johnson, CD Lamb, Denzel Mims, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Michael Pittman, Jalen Reagor, Henry Ruggs, Laviska Shenault Jr. And God, there's just so many more. Those are all the top guys. Those are the ones you want to kind of be watching and see how they compete, because there's just so many guys at the top. A good combine performance is probably what's going to make or break their draft stock.
What do you think? What's the farthest you think someone could fall from a poor combine? Like how bad? Like, so let's say you have a running back projected to go like in the first round, but like not like, you know, top 5, just like a first round guy, and then he has an abysmal combine. How far could he fall?
I mean, if he's projected to go in the first round and has a bad combine, I wouldn't see him falling past the third.
Okay.
But if he's a day 2 guy to start off with, you know, round 2 or 3, it could be disastrous. Orlando Brown a couple years ago, he was looked at as, you know, a fringe round 1, round 2 guy. Goes out and just has one of the worst combines I've ever seen, and then falls just so fucking far. But it was one of the worst I've ever seen, and it just was detrimental to how he performed. Ended up being a fantastic player. I'm pretty sure he's in Pro Bowl this year, but he just looked disgusting out there on the field.
It's one of those things where it's like the combine results obviously matter to a degree because it's a measure of athleticism, and football's definitely got to be up there in terms of overall athleticism needed for select positions. Because baseball, you know, like you see a bunch of heavy set dudes in baseball just doing their thing. They're not the people aren't expecting them to run fast. They're expecting them to like hit the ball far or like be a pitcher. Um Hockey, you also probably need to have a good sense of overall athleticism, but there's a few different aspects to it that aren't there that are in football, like a few of the quick cuts, the idea of jumping over anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that the shifts are short, although plays are also short, so, you know, do what you want with that. Plus, you don't usually do pushing style hits. A lot of the hits are just quick glide by. Not saying one's better than the other, just they're different.
Yeah.
Whereas football, like you got to kind of do most positions require you to do like a little bit of everything. Outside of a few, you got to be able to handle a lot of different aspects of the game. So I definitely see the combine results as being like important and at the same time unimportant, because practical ability is also going to outweigh physicality, I would say.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I view it as a bar you have to reach. There's certain levels you have to reach at the combine in order to be successful. Like, you don't need to have the best time to have a successful combine. You just need to hit a certain bar that shows you have the, you know, the requisite strength, explosiveness, speed, whatever it may be for that position, to compete in the NBA. Anything above that is just icing on the cake. Anything below that is essentially a major red flag. And it's not make or break like we saw with Orlando Brown. There's guys that just go out and absolutely light up the combine and then just don't do anything. Like Obi Melifonwu out of UConn, safety that was drafted by Dallas. He had just an absolutely outstanding combine. Completely was the talk of the show for that whole week. And I'm pretty sure he's on like the Steelers practice squad or a team's practice squad right now after being, first, second round pick. Because it's not all about athleticism. But that's definitely what is the headline maker when it comes to the combine.
You ready to talk about some weird stats yet?
Oh, absolutely. Always ready for weird stats.
Today's the stats episode. Ooh. All right. So I ran a query. I ran a few, but the first one we're going to talk about, I wanted to see, apparently it said it between 1950 and 2019. I don't know why 1950 was the cutoff. I didn't do that on purpose, but that's fine. Regular season games. I want to see which quarterbacks had 50 or more pass attempts with 20 or fewer passes completed. And what's your impression of what this list looks like?
I want to say Jay Cutler's going to be on there just 50 times.
He isn't. So he's not. There are definitely quarterback names here that you recognize, including 1.5 active quarterbacks. But there's only 8 games in which this has actually happened.
Is Vinny Testaverde on there?
No, he's not. That's another great guess.
At this point, that's just disappointing. I want to see Vinny Testaverde there.
So I'll start off
in every query we do. That's how I want to phrase that.
I can't argue with that because it's something I want to see too. So the first name on here, I have it stored in terms of fewest completions, is Dick Wood. Does that legendary name mean anything to you?
80 grade name. I've never heard it before, but goddamn, that's an 80 grade name.
Dick Wood.
Dick Wood.
He had 17 completions on 52 pass attempts. In 1966, when it was the AFL, he played for Miami, the Dolphins, playing against the Boston Patriots, not even yet the New England Patriots. In a loss, hint, all these games were losses. Although pretty close, 14-20. He completed 32.69% of his passes for 276 yards, 2 touchdowns on 3 interceptions for 40.2 quarterback rating. Not Dick Wood's finest performance, let me tell you. The Dolphins were 2-9 at that point. The Patriots 6-3-2, which is hilarious. And goddamn, Dick Wood. Not what? Tell me, I need to learn more about Dick Wood. How many seasons do you think Dick Wood survived in the NFL?
6.9.
Oh no, Dick Wood. This isn't a lot of years.
Oh boy.
5.
Ugh.
He had 60 career starts, which means I guess he did start all of his game. No, not all of them, because there was a few. Because this was back when it was 14 starts. Mm-hmm. He played for Denver for 1 game, then San Diego for 6, and then the Jets for 2 seasons, 25 games total, Oakland for 14 games, and then Miami for 14 games. His career record, you might ask, 13-18-2. Dick Wood was not a good quarterback. More interceptions or touchdowns? What do you think?
Interceptions.
By 20.
Oh, no. That's
51
that's too big of a number.
71 interceptions. It's not good, Dick Wood. It's not good. His last year in the league was with Miami in the aforementioned game being part of that season, where he had a 6.1 interception percent.
That's
That year
that's too high.
he had 4 touchdowns on 14 interceptions.
Ugh,
Dick Wood.
I love this. I hate that, but I love it at the same time.
So that's gotta be, depending on how you wanna look at it, I would think that's gotta be the front runner for worst game on this although, there's 2 games with lower quarterback ratings than that. I guess we'll get there. So, the second worst performance on this in terms of completion percent, uh, 2007. Any guesses?
2007?
2007.
Um, Jake Delhomme.
You know him. You love him. He's probably gonna go to the Hall of Fame. Eli Manning.
Uh,
18 completions on 53 attempts, good for a
how many?
33.96 completion percentage. 18 completions, 53 attempts,
Yikes.
184 yards, 1 touchdown, a 51.1 quarterback rating, and a 10-22 loss to the Washington Redskins on December 16th, 2007, the year he won the Super Bowl. Eli Manning.
Eli, no.
That is the half active player because he's listed as active because he hasn't had a season retired yet, even though he is officially retired. There is one other active name on this list who I believe is still active, although we'll get there. But Eli Manning being on this list was like it's one of those things where it's like it's not a surprise. Like it's like, oh shit, it's Eli. And then you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Eli is a treat. He just
Yeah.
you don't expect Eli to have that, and at the same time, you fully expect Eli to be the one that has
Oh
that.
yeah. It's like I wasn't going into this being like Eli will certainly be on this list, but at the same time, it's like once I see the results, it goes, "Oh yeah, this is a list he would be on." Oh, Eli, I love you, you goober, but oh man, you had some clunkers. Reading down the next name on this list, you will also certainly know. 1965. We're still working in the AFL, playing for Houston at the time. George Blanda had
Wow.
19 completions on 54 attempts, a 280 oh my god, 287 yards, 0 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Good
Uh,
for a quarterback rating of 15.
that's not good, Josh. That's not good.
Statistics have taught me, Corwin, that this is in fact bad. Wow. How old do you think George Blanda was in this game?
What year was this?
1965.
39?
38.
Ooh, close.
Wow. Yeah. The next name I do not know, John Brody,
I don't recognize it.
1969, playing for the San Francisco 49ers against the Rams. Uh, John Brody, 20 completions on 51 attempts. Pretty boring one. Next one's Kerry Collins. Do you know this name?
Penn Stater.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
A little bit more recent. This time we're working in 1998 when he was playing for Carolina against Green Bay. 20 completions on 53 attempts, lost 30-37. Again, not that interesting of a game. The next one, 2013. Any guesses? Not in the league. He is gone, my friend.
Uh, 2013. Not
2013.
in the league. Peyton Manning.
No, Josh Freeman.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I can see that for sure.
Josh Freeman playing for Minnesota against the Giants, 20 for 53. Bad game, just a no good game. The next name still active, 2014. Who do you think it was?
2014, still active. Joe Flacco.
Not Joe Flacco, playing for the Cleveland Browns at the time.
Ooh. Ooh. Who was the quarterback in 2014 for the Browns?
It's a great question because Cleveland has had just so many quarterbacks.
right? Like, it's so hard to narrow that down.
That's why it's a challenge, yeah.
Fuck, I wanna get this. I wanna be able to get this, but
I really believe in you because I feel like if I say the name, you're gonna be like, "Fuck."
um, what team does he play for now?
Ooh, that's actually a great question. I have to check. I wanna say and actually, I'm not gonna even guess because I wanna be correct. Uh, Indianapolis.
Oh my god. Oh, Brian Hoyer.
Brian Hoyer. Hoyer the
Yes.
Destroyer. Um,
Ooh, such a
believe it or
relief I
not,
was able to get that.
this is the best game on this list. He went 20 for 50 for a 40% completion percent, which is the highest. He had 330 yards that game, which is also on this list the highest. One touchdown to one interception, a quarterback rating of 61.2, which is by far the highest. Uh, and yet they lost 7-23. So yeah, I mean,
Oh, the
like
Browns.
not good. Then the second worst game on this list is the last one. Jim Plunkett in 1980 playing for Oakland against Kansas City in a game in which the Raiders lost 17-31. Jim Plunkett went 20 for 52. He had 238 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions for a 26.5 quarterback rating, which is bad.
That's, not the worst, though.
He also had the lowest adjusted yards per pass attempt out of anyone on this list with 1.02.
I take it back, it is the worst.
That's so comically bad. That's impressively bad. Falling forward every play would get you more yards than that.
I
Oof.
feel like, we need to do some serious scientific testing, put one of us in an NFL game, and see if we can outdo 1.2 yards per pass.
See, the thing is, I think does it count rushing yards? Or is it just no? It's adjusted passing yards. Oh, that's tough.
Just a little dump off screens and just hope they can run the ball
So
forward.
the real question is here, Corbin. Do you think we could replicate Jimmy Garoppolo's performance in the playoffs this year?
Um,
Because that's basically what we would be doing. We'd be handing the ball off a lot and then trying to just make shuttle passes that somehow counted as forward progress. Um, and
I
then the
wanna
running
say
backs and
no
wide
because I
receivers doing
wanna
it.
respect the quarterback position, but I'll say yes because I believe in us, and I like being a little cocky.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Hey, if we don't have to back it up, I'm the greatest that ever lived.
I'm actually Tom Brady and have an 8-foot long penis
Now, why would you want that? That's the real question here.
because no one else has it, Josh, and I can't be proven wrong.
8 feet long is just
Well,
that's just too much.
I want basically the snake from episode 2 of Harry Potter, uh, as a dick.
So, real quick, this is a total aside, but I just ran a query looking for most touchdowns with fewer than 30 pass attempts.
Mhm.
And were you aware that uh, Alan Burke, who I don't know, and Nick Foles both had their 7 touchdown games on under 30 attempts?
I'm aware now,
I
that's for
did not
sure.
know that. Yeah, they both did it. Alan Burke had a 7 touchdown game in 1954 um, on 27 attempts, and Nick Foles's was on 28.
That's 4 passes per touchdown.
Like, this
Every
line
4th
is not
pass is a touchdown.
he went
That's
22 for
crazy.
28, 406 yards, 7 touchdowns, no interceptions, only 1 sack for 1 yard. He had 14.5 yards per attempt and 19.5 adjusted yards per attempt.
Like, imagine having, a career where you play, I don't know, 40, 50 games, you start them, and you have one game, one individual start so good, it acts as a buoy for the rest of your career. Like, it got him this contract. It got him, the postseason run in Philly. Like, that one game set up the rest of his career.
Oh, absolutely. Because everyone viewed this game as his ceiling for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Damn, that's nuts. Okay. I wasn't expecting that. And apparently I have to be harsher than 30 pass attempts. Um wow, good for you, Nick Foles, for at least accomplishing that. All right, so who do you think it's actually a big old tie, but who do you think has the most passing touchdowns on 25 or fewer um, pass attempts?
Vinny Testaverde, of course.
Not not tied for first here, but these names is a weird mix of people. I mean, truly a puzzling mix of people. So I'll start with I'll go with the order that Pro Football Reference gave me. So first is Tom Brady. He
Okay.
did it in 2007 against Miami, 6 touchdowns on 25 attempts with 21 completions, a perfect passer rating, of course.
Mhm.
Bob Griese, I don't know how to pronounce this name. And
Bob Grease.
it was Bob Griese, yeah, Hall of Famer. He did it for Miami against St. Louis in 1977. Um, 6 touchdowns on 23 pass attempts. Um, a 115 passer rating. Very, very, very good game, Bob Grease. Charlie Johnson?
No.
Nope, don't know him. 1965 did it for St. Louis against Cleveland. Uh, 6 passing touchdowns on 19 pass attempts for a 120.1 quarterback rating, which feels very impressive. A 49-13 win over Cleveland, which sounds right. That sounds like how everyone beats Cleveland. Um, Tommy Kramer?
That sounds familiar, but I can't be positive.
His game happened in 1986, Minnesota against Green Bay, a 42-7 win. He threw 6 passing touchdowns on 25 pass attempts, and then the last quarterback with 6 passing touchdowns on 25 or fewer attempts was Peyton Manning when he was with
Nice.
the Colts. Against New Orleans, he had 6 touchdowns on 25 pass attempts, a perfect quarterback rating. What a weird list of names.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, I just wanted to share that. I don't have anything else with it.
Nice.
But yeah, fucking weird.
What do
I
you
have
think is the absolute ceiling for one of us? Like, how many let me rephrase that. How many passes do you think we would need for a touchdown?
oh my god. Who are we playing against?
I feel like we need to go with, like, a completely average defense, so let's just say, like, the Broncos.
Oh man, I'm gonna be afraid though. They have Von Miller and that other guy.
Um, yeah, I mean, everyone's got somebody.
Everyone's got somebody.
Uh,
Ugh.
Truer words have never been spoken.
Yeah, we should say that for the Valentine's Day episode. Um, fuck, man. All right, how about let me ask you this. How many pass attempts do you think it would take for one of us to get a touchdown with no defense?
Uh, 3 or 4.
All right, so actually, you know what? With that though, because there's no defense.
If there's
All
no
right,
defense, we just
let me
need to complete a
let me.
pass.
All right, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. Let me correct it though. How many passes do you think it would take for us to get a touchdown with no defensive line, but still a secondary?
Oh god.
So you have
Like,
no pressure coming up against you, so you can hold the ball, but you still have to make the accurate pass.
I think I think 6 throws would be enough for one player to break coverage enough. Ah, man, I don't know. Okay, I wanna say 10. I wanna say 10 throws before we get a touchdown. No defensive line, long as we can go, and just avoiding defensive backs.
You know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say 3
Okay.
because I think that we would employ the strategy of the Hail Mary of just chuck that shit up to the end zone and let the receivers figure it out. Because if we're
Mhm.
being honest here, Corwin, we could try to like lead a wide receiver, or we could try the jump ball thing. It
Yeah.
wouldn't go well, and I think we'd figure it out
No.
pretty quick. But if we gave them just a 50-50 shot and just chucked the ball up there super high and let everyone get to the end zone and let them just kind of duke it out, that just by law of averages, eventually, and I think relatively quick, because in some aspects it's 50-50, in some aspects it's not, but 50-50 enough, one of our guys would get it. You know?
I gotta give it to you. 50-50 is probably the best odds we're gonna get the entire time. So I love that plan. You're not wrong. Like, just toss it up. We're not the NFL players. They are. Let them get it.
Yeah, right? Yeah, if I have no talent, but the person catching the ball has all the talent, I'm gonna make it their job. You figure it out. I'm not Peyton Manning. I can't
All
do
right.
it.
Do you know any NFL players, specifically defensive backs and wide receivers? So I'd
Um,
love to try this out.
I mean, I know Michaela Owens knows a bunch, but like that's all I got. She knows Eric Flowers. That's not helpful.
Yeah, I know Jason Kabinda, and that's it.
Yeah, no, I don't know anybody.
I'll try to reach out to Saquon and see if he wants to do it.
Hey, buddy, we went to college at the same college, but not at the same time. You want to come on the show and catch passes?
Yeah, it was the same time.
You were both there at the same time?
Yeah,
Oh, I don't
he's
know why I
only
thought
been
you
in the
guys didn't
league for
overlap.
2 years.
True. Yeah, true. I have two other queries we can get through real quick before we kind of close out on a few other like just non-stats topics.
Okay.
What quarterback, what running back do you think has the most seasons of more than 800 rushing yards?
The most seasons of more than 800 rushing yards?
Yeah.
Emmett Smith.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is Emmitt Smith. He has 13 of them.
Yeah. God, he played forever.
He did. Who do you think's number 2?
Uh, who played forever? 800 rushing yards. Um, Adrian Peterson?
Ooh, that's a good guess, but no, Adrian Peterson to date only has 7.
Man, who else could it be? I don't know, like Jim Brown? I don't know how long he played for.
Ooh, Jim Brown, another good guess. He is number 5 on this list with 9. I guess
Damn.
tied for 5th on this list. It is Frank Gore
I God damn, how did I not get that one?
with 12 seasons. After that, it's a two-way tie between Curtis Martin and Barry Sanders, each with 10. And then after that, it's a big old tie of a hilarious group of names, 4 names: Jim Brown, Matt Forte,
Wow.
Thurman Thomas, and Ricky Waters.
Wow, okay.
Uh,
I don't know Ricky Waters.
Ricky Waters did this in between from 92 to 2000, so rather recently. Played for Seattle, Philly, and San Francisco.
Wait, so how many Jim Brown had what, 9?
9, yeah.
I was gonna say, looking at all right, let's go through this query, then I want to bring up Jim Brown.
Okay.
Did you have anything any other guys after that you wanted to talk about? Because I kind of just jumped in there.
Oh, no. Dude, feel free to take this out. I just wanted to see because 800 yards feels like a good number. I know it's not a high number, but if you have an 800-yard season, no one's going to say it was bad.
Right.
Everyone will say that was decent, and some people will say you could be better, but
Mhm.
800 yards felt good. That's all I really have to say. What do you want to say about Jim Brown?
Wow, he was so good. Um,
Oh, yeah.
he played for 9 seasons. He was selected to 9 Pro Bowls, and he was an 8-time first team All-Pro. Kinda good. 3-time MVP. He had 8 seasons leading the league in rushing yards. 8 of his 9 seasons, he led the league in rushing yards, with his peak having 1,863 in 14 games.
You know what's
That's
crazy is that's almost like 100 yards off of being double his rushing yards from the previous season.
which is insane. Absolutely insane.
2,100 scrimmage yards that season. Oh
Like,
god.
so, like, for those of you who have been on Baseball Reference, when a text is bolded in, like, the big tables they have, that means they led the league that year in that. It's like there's more bold here than there is normal lettering.
Yes, they call it, black ink, and there is a fuck ton of black ink on this page.
It's insane. Um, 5-time leading the NFL in rushing touchdowns, 6-time leading them in rushes, 8 times leading them in yards per game, 6 times leading them in touches. It's just there's so much great shit here. He is just the forgotten about player in the NFL. Um, Even though the NFL just named him the best player of all time.
He's one of those people that's often considered, or at least I've heard, I'm not gonna force my own opinions out, that he's one of those dudes where if you put him in today's game, he could probably still be successful.
Oh
That's
yeah.
that's how I've heard him
Oh yeah.
described. And he also,
I
like,
mean,
retired on his own terms, like, he retired it after his age 29 season, like,
mhm.
he 100% could have kept playing mediocre football at worst into his late 30s and just chose to be like, "Nah, fuck it. I did this shit. I'm done."
It's gonna be like he's getting up there. He just turned 84 on February 17th. Happy birthday, Jim Brown.
Oh, happy birthday.
Um, I hate to mention it, but he's he's gonna pass it someday, and it's gonna be one of those days where it's just that'll be a hard one to get over.
Yeah. That's how I feel about Hank Aaron. It's
Yeah.
wild to think that these 2 dudes are just, like, 2 of the greatest of all time and just, like, going to functions and, like, hanging out, being around
Mhm.
the sport. It's nuts. It's so cool, and it will make me sad when they are no longer doing it.
Yeah.
Um,
All right.
how many
Let's get
just
happier.
just real quick, how many passing yards do you think Jim Brown has?
Passing yards?
Yeah.
Um, 100.
117.
Nice.
Jim Brown finished his career with a
Excuse me.
110.1 quarterback rate.
Wow.
'Cause I don't know if I think that 117 yards is a little or a lot, because he only played in 9 seasons in 14 game seasons, and he only has passing yards in 5 of those seasons. So, in some respects, averaging basically 22 yards per season, 23 yards per season feels like a lot for a running back, but at the same time, I feel like there was a lot more of that, like, positional fuzziness back in that time period, which would have led me to think maybe there could have been more passing yards. But either way, yeah, that's what he's got.
I would love to see Jim Brown not only in the modern NFL, but in the modern NFL where he could be used like a quarterback in some plays. Like maybe throw a couple wildcat plays in there, maybe, a couple Philly specials where he's throwing the ball deep. Just I want to see Jim Brown do it all. I want to see him look like Jim Thorpe out there.
I'm with you, buddy. I would also be into that. Now, Corbin, let me ask you, how many or of all let me how to phrase this question. Which running back do you think has the most seasons of over 400 receiving yards?
Which receiver has the most
Which
seasons
running
of
back?
running back of over 400 receiving yards?
Yep, the most
Um,
seasons of over 400 receiving yards. And or how many seasons do you think that is?
I guess I'll go with Barry Sanders and 10.
So 10 is the number. It's not Barry Sanders. I don't see him in the top 5. I don't see him in the top 10. Actually kind of surprising. I don't see him in the top 20.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stop looking. Um
I have Barry
Larry
Sanders.
Centers.
Ugh,
Do you know who
wow.
Larry Centers is?
I don't.
He played from 92 to 2001 with a combination of Arizona, Washington, and Buffalo. And
Wow.
I have no idea who this is. But he
Yeah,
had
I don't
10
recognize it.
seasons, which is the most of as a running back with 400 or more uh receiving yards as a running. Sorry, he had. Oh, his career was actually longer than that because he also had a career with Philly. Or sorry, that's the Phoenix Cardinals. My bad. Never mind. So he played from 1990 to 2003, his final season with New England, in which he won a Super Bowl. So he's also a Super Bowl champ.
Good on
Uh,
him.
yeah, ain't that some shit? Larry Eugene Centers, out of SF Austin. After that, Marshall Falk had 9. And then a tie between Tiki Barber and Ronnie Harmon, each with 8.
Now that's a name I've not heard in a long, long. Tiki Barber.
Tiki Barber.
That was like it was one of those names where like he was the star when I first was like hearing about football players.
Oh, yeah, he was huge when I was a kid.
God, Tiki and
Everyone knew
Ronnie
Tiki
Barber.
Barber.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then with 7, we have Keith Byers, Roger Craig, LaDainian Tomlinson, and John Williams. Matt Forte here with 6. He is tied with active. Is Darren Sproles still active or did he retire?
I think he just announced his
I was gonna
retirement.
say I think he just did, which is all right. And then the highest, the active player with the most, Duke Johnson with 5. So I think that's just got to
Wow.
be all 5 of his seasons because I didn't realize he'd even been playing for 5 seasons.
Yeah, right.
Because it feels like he's
Uh,
only been playing for 3, but lo and behold, it's been 5.
All
So,
right, so I want you to guess how many 400-yard seasons Barry Sanders has.
well, so it's got to be less than 5 because I was looking at the fives. I'll say 3.
He has
Really?
one season with 480 receiving yards. He has one season just after that with 398. The next closest is 305 or 307, excuse me. I always viewed him as more of a, utility knife player, do it all receiving back, and it's just not really the case.
I mean, I guess he just was on Lions teams that had such terrible quarterback play. The opportunity
Uh,
might not have might not have been there.
I mean, he always caught a lot of passes. It just didn't always translate to a lot of yards,
Yeah.
which is the way it goes sometimes.
Fuck. I guess so. Yeah. Damn. All right.
I want to see. I really want to see if Saquon is capable of making. Oh yeah, Saquon 2 years in the league so far, 721 and 438 yards respectively receiving. I want
Yeah,
to see him get like 16.
I feel like this is definitely a breakable record we're looking
Oh,
at right here because well, I guess the hardest part might just be longevity of it because running back
exactly.
careers are
Yeah.
getting shorter, but in terms of ability to just blanketly do this, I think almost every running back in the league has the ability to just do it. Um, Le'Veon has 4 right now. James White has 5 as well as an active
Mhm.
player. How many do you think Frank Gore has?
I'll say 4.
Yeah, 4. How hilarious is that?
Uh, it's well, I mean, he also has been playing forever, so it's not too crazy. I think it's just more of it was bound to happen at some point.
Yeah, he just kind of fell into him.
Uh, yeah, he's got good balance. I don't know if he's fallen too much.
But yeah,
That
this
was a bad joke.
if I yeah, thank you. This is certainly if the longevity can be there, a pretty breakable record, which is cool.
So, how many? I don't want you to actually do this query. I just want you to go off the top of your head.
Okay.
How many running backs do you think have had 1,000-yard receiving seasons, atop 1,000-yard rushing seasons?
Oh, so both.
Yes.
So 1,000 yards receiving and 1,000 yards rushing.
Yes.
Okay. Um, how many players or how many seasons?
Both.
All right, I'll say. Fuck. I'll say four players and 6 seasons.
All right, you're close. The answer is actually one for both. Christian
Really?
McCaffrey this last year. Only one to ever do it.
Really? Wow. Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
1,387 rushing yards, 1,005 receiving yards.
Really?
Mhm.
Huh. Ain't that some shit?
I was on, Saquon's page, and I remembered, him saying he wanted to be the first one to ever do it, and he was close. It was, he just missed too much time this year.
Wow.
Yeah, he actually wasn't terribly close, but
Well, I was gonna say he had 400 receiving yards, right?
yeah, he was farther away than he was closer to 0 than 1,000.
Yeah, that's okay. Damn,
God,
that is
it feels like he missed more than 3 games this year, but yeah.
yeah, well, he fucking hurried back, didn't he?
Mhm.
He didn't wanna miss any time.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fucking crazy, though.
I yeah, I really would have thought that that would happen at some other point.
It's just honestly, getting 1,000 receiving yards is just really fucking hard.
I guess so. Um, hold on. I'm trying to run the query as well because I believe you, but I need to see it. Um,
I'm also trying to do that as well.
ooh, I have 3 seasons.
Okay.
I have Christian McCaffrey's. I also have Marshall Faulk's 1999 season and Roger Craig's 1985 season.
Okay, okay.
So let's look at Marshall Faulk's 1999 season, in which he had 1,048 receiving yards and 1,381 rushing yards.
Wow.
Damn, that's a hell of a year. Yeah, 2,429 yards from scrimmage. Um, and then Roger Craig's 1985 season, yeah, he got it too. 1,016 receiving yards, 1,050 rushing yards, and didn't lead the league in yards from scrimmage. He didn't lead the league in any of these categories. He led the league in receptions that year. That's weird.
That's damn. I feel stupid.
It's okay, buddy. The query can be a fickle bitch.
Stupid ass fickle bitch.
Uh, anything else with football stats?
Um, I don't think so.
All right. Well, I guess the only other thing we were going to talk about is Luis Severino
Mm.
losing another season and a half to injury as he is going to go under the knife for Tommy John surgery,
This is
which
his
is
first, correct?
yeah, this is his first.
Bro.
He was throwing. He got 2 days into spring training while throwing, felt some discomfort in his elbow while throwing change-ups, went to go talk to the training staff about it. They did X-rays and MRIs, didn't see anything. Flew him back up to New York, where they did one of the MRIs that requires you to get an injection with the it's not ink, it's a dye to get a better view of what's going on. And they found a tear in his UCL that just wasn't previously visible. Apparently, traditional MRIs have a like 92% success rate or like visibility, whereas the dye ones have a 99% visibility, but
Mhm.
they cause some discomfort in the injections site. And since they were injecting in the elbow, they hadn't done it previously. Although that begs the question of why didn't they do it during the off season when he wasn't throwing at all? But fuck if I know. And now Luis Severino, the previous Yankees ace to Garrett Cole, will miss approximately 18 months while he recovers, which puts him out until July or August of next season, which is a huge blow to this rotation, but mostly to Luis Severino's career. This is two of his prime years. He's going to lose all of his age 26 and 27 season pretty much. Fuck.
Yeah. What was the injury he's coming back from this season
It was
or
just
this
like
past season?
mystery elbow injury. I'm not sure. No, he had a lat tear. or something like that.
Mm,
I think. Oh, I don't recall. He'd been out for so long. I kind of forgot what he was rehabbing. I want to say it was one of the big three you hear from pitchers: elbow, shoulder, or lat. One of those three.
right. God, that's brutal.
Yeah,
I was really
really feel
excited
bad
to
for
see
him.
that Yankees rotation in full form this year.
Me too, man. And
Yeah,
like I
no
said,
kidding.
like I think the Yankees will survive because they've shown capability to. Plus, they're the Yankees. They can just go trade for a player. Like
Mhm.
I'm sure they will, or they'll develop, or what have you. I'm not. If you're a Yankees fan, you should be sad and concerned for Luis Severino, and obviously the rotation is worse for not having him there. But I think the main takeaway from this is, fuck, that's just goddamn tragic. The timing of it
Yeah.
for this guy, and also thank God he signed that contract with the Yankees last season. That got him his guaranteed money. Because if he didn't have that, he would be so fucked in arbitration.
Yeah, no fucking kidding. Jesus Christ.
Really, I mean, oh my god. You know what's crazy is how many Twitter takes I've seen saying that Brian Cashman should get fired, for
Why?
giving Luis Severino and Aaron Hicks contracts worth 10 million per season, and then both of them ending up needing to get Tommy John surgery.
Oh, no. You
So, like,
signed two really good players to two essentially extremely free or, team-friendly deals, and they just happen to get injured and get over it.
yeah, I mean, like, fucking really? Like, a 7 year, 70 million God, 7 year, $70 million contract is nothing, especially to a team like the Yankees.
Exactly.
Like, that wouldn't even be bad if it was the Rays. Like, a 10 million per year contract really isn't that bad. Uh,
No, God,
and
no.
and then it's the same thing for Luis Severino. He's on like I think a 4 year 40. Like, it's nothing. And how the fuck is anyone supposed to predict getting Tommy John surgery?
Exactly.
Because
I
like,
mean,
no, go ahead.
how much is Garrett Cole making this year? 35,000,000?
Yeah, yeah, 30, somewhere between 35 and 36. That sounds right.
Is Garrett Cole 3.5 times better Luis Severino?
No. I mean, if you wanted to argue and you wanted to say Garrett Cole was worth 10 wins this season, is going to be worth 10 wins this season, and Luis is going to be worth 5, and so that's double. I wouldn't necessarily agree, but it'd be hard to argue it wouldn't happen. But 3
Right.
times, absolutely not.
Yeah, it's crazy that some fans are that, I guess, short-sighted? Fickle? I
Oh,
don't know.
definitely short sighted. Absolutely. Oh man, it's just fucking stupid. But here we are talking about it, so
Yeah. We do love talking about stupid shit. Can't
yeah,
blame us
yeah,
for
we
that.
do. Um, Tommy John surgery is one of those things where it's just absolutely tragic for a career, and yet is also such a career saver.
Mhm.
Like it chews up a huge amount of your playing time, but I mean, it also extends your playing career because without it, you would just retire. Like that's the option. It's either get the surgery or you can
You're
pitch until
done.
you literally can't pitch anymore, and then bye bye, you done. So
It's a necessary evil.
yeah, I guess so. Um, let's close out with this because we don't talk about hockey as much as we used to. Do you have any takeaways from the trade deadline that happened the other day, Monday?
Um, I guess the biggest one was, Robin Leonard being traded to, the Black Knights. I almost said the Blackhawks. From the
Golden Knights.
Blackhawks. Golden Knights from the Blackhawks, to the Purple Tigers. Um, it's one of those things where I don't think they needed it in any way, but at the same time, it wasn't a terribly costly acquisition, and having good goaltenders in the playoffs is just so overlooked by, people who aren't very much into the game, like even us. Um, so I like it. I guess the other big trade that I'm a big fan of, well, I have mixed feelings on, but Connor Sherry coming back to the Pens. He was, my favorite player after Marc-Andre Fleury left, so I'm so excited to have him back. On a personal note, kind of sad to see Dominic Cahoon leave because I think he had a ton of potential, but yeah. And then the Pens grabbed Patrick Marleau for a third-round pick, which is equally expensive and super cheap because Marlowe's making $700,000 a year. So he really doesn't affect our, dangerous salary cap in any way, which is nice. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I'm trying to for Rangers news. They made what was it, two? No, just the one trade. They did one trade and one extension.
Mhm.
They traded Brady Shea to the Hurricanes, which I have feelings about, and they signed Chris Kreider to a new contract, which I also have feelings. Trading away Brady Shea for a first round pick, I think I'm good. I think I understand it. Brady Shea had a phenomenal rookie season and then just never quite did it again. And the Rangers have enough stick first offense first defensemen that I just don't think they needed Brady. Like, if you gave me the option today between Tony DeAngelo and Brady Shea, I can't believe I would say this, but I'll take Tony DeAngelo.
Really?
He's cheaper. He's a better shooter. They're equivalently mediocre on defense. Brady Shea's obviously better looking and his politics don't suck nearly as bad. But just on the ice, Tony DeAngelo, I think, is actually the more valuable player right now.
Yeah, okay.
Um, and
He definitely has the pedigree.
yeah, and the Rangers could use the first round pick this year as they're kind of getting ready to get out of their rebuild and get into contention, which is part of the reason they were relatively conservative at the deadline, only trading Brady Shea. And then the re-signing of Chris Kreider, I also love. A
Yeah.
7-year contract at 6.5 million AAV is totally reasonable. I don't get why anyone would be that upset about it. It's not high enough that you're like, ugh. It's definitely not low, but he definitely took a discount to stay with the Rangers. And the thing is, like we talk about every season with teams that are rebuilding and trying to get out of it, you can't just trade away every player you have with value because then when you're ready to compete, who the fuck do you have? Like, that's just a recipe, bless you. That's just a
Thank
recipe
you.
for you to stay mediocre forever because it's basically what you're saying is every time I have a top tier or even good player that could get me more draft picks, I'm going to trade them, which is what bad teams do, i.e., the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's their whole thing. The Tampa Bay Rays, because they don't feel like paying them. Like, you want to shit on teams like the Yankees who buy up players, but the real evil with sports is the teams that don't pay them or don't have the minds the forethought to keep good players around and only see draft picks. So I'm all for keeping Chris Kreider around. Is he the world's greatest player? No, but he's a career Ranger. He's a very reliable top six skater, and I
He's
fucking love it.
physical.
Yeah, very physical, big, fast.
Love it.
Yeah, love to see it. Um, Outside of the Rangers, JG Pageau went to the Islanders, which I hate so much because he seems to score like 4 goals on us every time he plays us. I hate it so much, but it's a great trade. Apparently, Joe Thornton is upset he didn't get traded, which is a bizarre sentence.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It's intriguing to say the least.
Yeah,
But
he wants to win a ring, and the Sharks. Man, doesn't it feel weird that they're not really going for it? Because I feel like my
yeah,
entire hockey watching career, they've always been going for it.
man, it's just like their best players are just they're old, some are just it's just I think they just missed their window, you
Oh, they
know?
definitely did. That's the only
And
cup loss to the Penguins. Like, yeah, and it actually, it's weird. Like, that's kind of like the early part of their window. They were competitive just like 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame because I liked that team. You know, I'm not a Sharks fan, but they had a really likable team, and I wanted to see them do well. It's just it's everyone's kind of regressed, and the guys have just aged out.
How do you feel with me telling you that the San Jose Sharks have the second fewest points in the Western Conference?
I believe it. They've been awful this year.
56 points. They're only 6
Oh,
points better than the Los Angeles Kings.
it's really bad.
Wow, California, not great. Anaheim, San Jose, and Los Angeles are the bottom 3 teams in the Western Conference.
Not great.
Wow. California not enjoying their hockey, not that they remember it's there. Whereas the Metro, or to the Eastern, has been fascinating. Right now, Pennsylvania is thoroughly enjoying hockey, with Pittsburgh and Philadelphia sitting 2 and 3 in the Metro standings. Washington up top, 4 points ahead of Pittsburgh, with Pittsburgh with 2 games in hand. The Islanders just lost a thriller to the Rangers last night, or Tuesday night, I should say. Super fun game. The Rangers now sitting at 72 points, tied with Florida. Just 2 points behind Carolina, who are 2 points behind Columbus, who's 1 point behind the Islanders, who are 3 points behind Philadelphia. So the wild card spot, as it stands right now, is the New York Islanders and the Columbus Blue Jackets, but with Carolina, New York, and Florida all sitting like right there. So this wild card chase in the Eastern Conference is going to be super fun and an absolute bloodbath. And if the Rangers fuck around and make the playoffs this year, I don't even know how I'm going to react.
I would love to see it. They have a pretty exciting, at least top 2 lines.
Yeah. And the youth movement's totally here. Igor Shesterkin, although he was just in a car accident with Pavel Buchnevich, and both will likely be out for a couple of weeks, which is certainly very, very sad, but I guess best case scenario for them after having that kind of car accident.
Exactly.
But Shesterkin's been a treat. He's 9-1 in the NHL, which is ridiculous. And the Capo Caco is present, although not experiencing the ice time I think most Rangers fans would like to see. Philip Hedl has been a delight. Adam Fox has been wonderful. Artemi Panarin has reinvigorated this team like nothing I've seen before.
The bread man.
Oh my God, bread man getting that bread. It's ridiculous. He is the yeastiest motherfucker in the NHL, let me tell you.
You got to say it like that? Really?
Yeah. That man is whole grain
I hate you.
I'm enjoying this so much. And I was at the start of the season, I was so ready to just be like, yeah, they're gonna suck, but like, yeah, it'll be okay. And they might go to the playoffs.
It would be pretty cool to see. I would root for them until they have to play the Penguins.
Which they wouldn't make it that far. we
You
all
never know.
That would involve them going through, I guess, either I forget how they changed the formatting to. I think they'd go up against Boston first. And
that's a winnable series.
I don't know. That would be a fucking chippy ass series. Let me
listen. If the Blues can do it, you can do it.
I don't know. I don't know about that. St. Louis is a really good team, and we are trying. But yeah. Anything else you want to say about hockey?
Not at the moment.
All right, then shall we get out of here?
Let's do it.
All right, if you want to follow the show on Twitter, you can do so at JuicingPod. And if you want to hit us up via email, you can do so at juiceofthenumbers@gmail.com. And until Monday, y'all have a good one.
Bye.